Welcome back. We are continuing our SEL series. The next topic is relationship skills. I wish they had taught this when I was in school. So many phone calls home could have been avoided. I digressed. Before I get triggered for real, let's take a look at how teaching relationship skills can be of benefit in the classroom. All right, so we're continuing our SEL series. We're focused in on relationship skills and education. So we're going to have the overview, purpose, key traits and strategies, benefits, examples, and then keys to remember. So what are relationship skills? This is our individual ability to maintain and establish healthy relationships, communicate effectively, listen actively, cooperate with others, resolve conflicts constructively, and show empathy and respect. So when we're looking at this in the classroom, again, this is one of the phases of SEL. So we're talking about the self-awareness first, the self-management. So we deal with the self first, and now we're dealing with, okay, now that I understand myself, how do I relate to others? So it's not something that you just drop in, in your classroom. It's something that is built upon, right? So you don't just skip over the self-awareness and the self-management. You need to make sure those things are established, because it'll become very difficult for individual students who are unaware of themselves to relate to others, because it's a false sense of awareness and security, right? So the building of the relationship skills. So what's the purpose? We want to build friendships, obviously, collaborate effectively, develop trust, resolve disagreements peacefully, and prepare students for future success. Now, these last two, resolve disagreements peacefully and prepare them for future success, are important, because if we've noticed, there's in recent years, students, whether you want to identify COVID or what have you, or technology, for whatever reason, students are more isolated individually, and then it has become very evident that they have difficulty blending and meshing with other students. So being able to resolve disagreements peacefully and prepare them for future success is key as far as relationship skills are concerned in the education field. So what are our key traits? We have active listening, cooperation, respectful communication, empathy. There's teamwork present. There's conflict resolution skills, leadership, and problem-solving skills. So these are key traits of relationship skills that we can focus in on. As we mentioned in previous videos, you can, jump around as far as which relationship skills your students particularly need. Once you identify your students, you can determine, hey, you know what, my kids are good with teamwork, but that empathy piece is something we need to focus on. So it's not a linear progression. You can jump from respectful communication to problem solving. You pick the areas of skills that the students demonstrate they need focus on. So why does it matter? We support student engagement. They create a sense of belonging. It focuses on positive peer interactions and lifelong success. So as an educator, I'm looking at, I'm implementing SEL. What do I need to think about? I need to make sure my learning environment is safe. It's a safe space. Students don't feel like they're threatened, bullied, manipulated or downgraded in their environment. As a teacher, I want to model respect. So the respect, the empathy, the active listening, those skills that we talked about in the previous slide, I'm modeling that respect. You want to provide collaboration opportunities. Oh, I'm not putting these kids together because they act wild, blah, blah, blah. Yes, because they haven't been taught relationship skills. So you want to make sure that you're still providing those opportunities for collaboration. so that you can focus in on them, on those skills, and give them the opportunity to practice those skills in a safe and respectable environment. And then you want to teach conflict resolution. So what is your role as the teacher? You want to model communication, facilitate teamwork, build trust, and foster inclusion. And believe it or not, teachers play a big role in fostering inclusion and building trust, right? Those two things were like, oh, the students have to do that amongst themselves. No, honestly, as teachers, we set the ground work for building trust in the classroom and fostering inclusion. If kids see that, as the teacher, you don't want to deal with certain students, what do you think the other students are going to do? Well, if the teacher doesn't want to deal with those students, I know I don't want to deal with them either. So you want to make sure as the teacher, you're including everybody in the classroom. You're making it a respectable and safe environment for everybody in the classroom, and you model that as the teacher. So what are some strategies for building these skills amongst our students? We can use morning meetings, talking about how we feel about things, practicing resolution. We can put scenarios in front of students saying, how would you handle this? We can do think, pair, and share, again, providing them with scenarios that they can play out in a safe environment. You can utilize peer tutoring, collaborative projects, and reflection activities. So how do we teach active listening? As a teacher, we can focus in on eye contact. We want to teach respectable eye contact. This is not the staring. I can imagine now, you're in the first or second grade classroom and you're, as a teacher, saying, hey, we want to make sure we have eye contact, and the little kids are just staring at each other. No. So you want to model eye contact for them, show them how to focus their attention on the person speaking, avoid interrupting people, ask questions, and then be able to summarize their understanding of the conversation. That's active listening. Notice it didn't say, retort, rebuttal, or anything like that. It's not a debate. We're actively listening to people and getting their perspective and making sure we understand the point of view that they're coming from. So how do we teach communication skills? We use respectful language. Again, the teacher is the guru of this, if you will, in the sense that they have to model these things that we're talking about. They use respectful language, express feelings appropriately, understand tone, understand body language. And with the tone and body language, you can use, scenarios from literature, or you can use videos to show body language, things like that. So we can teach them the communication skills that they need, but we also want to make sure as educators, we're modeling the same behavior. In regards to conflict resolution, you want to be able to show students how to identify the issue. What's the real issue, right? What's the real issue? A lot of times when there's a conflict, it's been going on for so long that students don't even know why they're in conflict anymore, right? Something happened early in the morning, and then by, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it's escalated to this major problem. And sometimes kids can't even remember what the original issue was. And then when you get down to it, oh, well, he knocked my pencil off the table. Really? Okay, cool. So we want to identify the original issue so we can address the original issue and not the byproducts of the issue, right? Conflict resolution includes listening. We just talked about that. Expressing feelings. You don't suppress them. You tell how you really feel and then deal with those feelings as the conversation goes along. You want to have students brainstorm solutions. And then finally, they agree on a plan. And don't get it twisted. That plan could be, we're not going to communicate for a day or two. We're going to give each other some space. That could be a plan. We're going to give each other some space. So as long as both parties agree on the plan and it's a positive plan, that's the final resolution part of the process. So what are the benefits for the teachers? We have improved management, obviously, because students are able to deal with each other on a more positive level. You have stronger relationships, higher engagement, and more instructional time. Similar to the other SEL aspects, the higher engagement and instructional time, those things increase because we're not dealing with and putting out these little mini fires every 5 minutes. So for the students, they have greater confidence. They feel a sense of belonging. They feel like, they can get along with the people, the family, the classroom family that they're a part of. They have stronger friendships. They have increased empathy, improved leadership. I know how to communicate with my partner. I know how to communicate with my peers. And you know what? I can lead the way because I have these skills, and you have enhanced communication skills. And on the macro level, you have, for the school benefits, you have improved climate, reduced bullying, stronger community, and increased inclusivity. So as always, how does this impact achievement, right? You have higher engagement, you have increased motivation, you have better participation, you have improved persistence and higher academic performance, simply because students know how to not only deal with themselves, but now they know how to deal with their peers and their colleagues in the classroom, in the school, thus removing a lot of the distractions such as bullying and things like that take away from the academic performance. We're now focused on achievement and academics. So what are some examples? Just random examples. They can be interchangeable at grade levels. Again, once you know your students, whether it's elementary, middle, or high school, once you know your students, you have an understanding of which one of these examples best fits their needs, right? So you have friendship circles, teen challenges, project-based learning, interchangeable at any grade level. Partner reading, peer mentoring, peer mediation, interchangeable. Cooperative games, debates, leadership groups, interchangeable. Classroom jobs, collaborative projects, and internships. They're all interchangeable. Even at the elementary school level, you can have internships, believe it or not. Okay, so you can reach out to your community, your school community, as well as the surrounding community to see what opportunities students can have for internships as well. So what are some keys to remember? Relationships drive learning. We talked about this in one of the other videos. I'm not even going to try to remember which one, but relationships drive learning. If there's no relationship between the teacher and the student and the students and the students, learning is slowed down simply because I'm worried about what this person's thinking, what this person. Yes, those are all distractions. So when there's a positive relationship between the teacher, the students, and the student peers, learning can occur. You have to teach communication explicitly. It can't be, oh, well, that's something they should know. Apparently they don't, because if you're watching this video and it's resonating with you, apparently there's some things that can be worked on. So we need to teach that communication explicitly. As teachers, we want to model positive interactions, okay? We don't want to let our body language say one thing and our voice is saying something else. We want to model those positive interactions that we just talked about. So maybe as an educator, it's before I start teaching these relationship skills to the students, I make sure that I understand them and I am practicing them. And then strong relationships improve achievement. So to close out, just a couple things for you to think about as an educator. Final reflection: how do relationship skills affect learning in your classroom? If you as an educator can answer this question, only you can answer this question, really. How are these relationship skills affecting things in your classroom? If you see a positive effect, then that's your answer. If you see a negative effect, that's your answer, and you move accordingly. And then what strategy can you implement this week, right? So if you made it this far, you realize, hey, you know what? This is something that I can utilize in my classroom. Think about one of the strategies we mentioned, or you can look up one of your own. What strategy can you implement this week? It's not going to solve all the problems, but you can start the ball rolling. And once you do that, it's easier to follow up. So think about what strategy you can implement this week and rock and roll with it. Thank you. All right, so we hope that was helpful. Remember, teaching relationship skills is a process, so be patient. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.